Ever woken up to the sound of a concrete mixer where birds used to sing? That's how my week started. No warning, just the roar of engines, the stink of diesel, and the sight of men dumping concrete into the creek that had run behind my house since before Colorado had a zip code. Picture this: 80 grand in homeowner dues, all poured into killing something pure. And the Queen overseeing this little environmental execution? My HOA president, Brenda, waving from her white Tesla like she's the new sheriff in town. She leans out and yells, "Flood control," like that's supposed to mean anything. What she didn't know was I've been a hydrologist longer than she's been buying pearl earrings. And what nobody in the HOA expected, that her $1 million home would be sitting in 2 feet of swamp water come spring, while my beat-up ranch would be high and dry. Funny how karma's got a sense of humor. If you think I'm making this up, you don't know how wild HOAs can get. Some of you are probably nodding, thinking, "Oh, yeah, my neighbors tried that too." Go ahead, tell me where you're watching from. I bet you've got your own story. I'm Dale, 58 years old. Before all this, the biggest headache in my life was finding carburetor parts for a '72 Harley. I figured retirement would be quiet. I'd inherited my granddad's 2 acres, back when this part of Colorado was pasture and HOA meant herd of Angus. My grandfather, William, he was a combat engineer, built this place after Normandy. The creek was his piece, my piece too, after 30 years with the Army Corps. Every morning, for 3 years running, I'd walk out with my coffee and just listen to Cottonwood Creek, watch sunlight hit those old granite stones, feel that mix of motor oil and willow bark. Sometimes, if I closed my eyes, I could hear his hammer echo off the water at dawn. My wife, Martha, she teaches 4th grade. She's got more patience than anyone I know. Our kids are out chasing dreams. Jess in Portland, Mike down in Austin, but they both got grandpa's stubborn streak. See, what made our land special wasn't the house or my cluttered workshop. It was that 400 yards of creek with water rights older than Colorado itself. 1873. Think about that. Older than electric lights, and definitely older than a HOA with a president in a Tesla. But Willowbrook Estates popped up around us. 47 new homes, big lawns, all California transplants running from their own HOA horror stories. There's some real irony for you. In strolls Brenda, all confidence and community vision, fresh out of Marin County, thinking she's the hero. Her idea of roughing it is a latte with one too many shots. Her house backs up to my creek, lawn ending where the wild starts. Her first shot across my bow was a certified letter, official violation, unsightly storage of automotive parts visible from neighboring properties. That's code for "I don't like the way you live." $200 a day fine until I comply. Now, here's what she missed. My deed predates the HOA by 80 years. Grandfather rights. Water, minerals, the works. I mailed back the law, chapter and verse. Didn't matter. She sent the county after me for running an illegal business. The inspector spent 2 hours poking around my shop. Only thing he found wrong was my way of organizing sockets. Still cost me $1,200 in lawyer fees, just for the privilege. But this wasn't about junk or code. Brenda realized quick, water means power out here. And to her, someone like me, with dirt under my nails, didn't deserve either. You ever feel a fight coming before it starts? That's what it was. Spring runoff hit hard that year. Creek sang louder, mist rising, willows soaking it up. Should have been peaceful. Instead, I'm served 57 pages of legalese, some nuisance water flow complaint about how my ancient creek was endangering $1 million homes. They wanted to force me into a $50,000 environmental study. That's the kind of trap where you bleed out just defending yourself. Martha found me knee-deep in the creek, holding Granddad's old survey rod. She asked, "What are you thinking?" I said, "I'm thinking they picked the wrong engineer to mess with." See, lawyers think regular folks can't read regulations. What they forget is some of us wrote them. I call my old friend Pete at the Colorado Water Authority. 10 minutes on the phone, he spots the flaw. They're using watershed maps from 1967, before the interstate, before the subdivisions, before modern drainage changed everything. Pete emails the real surveys. Turns out, my section of creek prevents flooding by holding runoff back. Granddad didn't just stack rocks. He built a natural dam that saved the valley for decades. Colorado water law is first come, first served. We've got rights back to 1873. Brenda's HOA? Their paperwork isn't worth the paper it's printed on. I spent that weekend knee-deep in dusty notebooks, mapping creek flow against legal boundaries. Monday, I file my own counter-complaint. County Water Commissioner reads it, laughs out loud. They tried to out-hydrologist the hydrologist? This will be the shortest case in state history. 2 weeks later, every right validated, HOA told to back off. Story hit the local paper. Suddenly, neighbors I never met were at my door, each with a fresh Brenda horror story. Garden fines, mailbox threats, you name it. You'd think that'd slow her down. Not Brenda. She schedules an emergency HOA board meeting. While I'm out of town, of course. Her agenda? Emergency flood mitigation. In reality, she doctors photos, hires some consultant, who's actually her cousin's landscaper, claims immediate concrete work is the only thing saving us all. Vote passes, except for Edwin, the only sane one on the board. Special assessment, $1,800 a house. Total project? $127,000 for something no real engineer would approve. I cut our vacation short. When I get back, the sound hits first. Jackhammers where there should be birds. Diesel in the air. My creek's been replaced by a concrete trench. Gone just like that. Martha's crying. They killed it, she says. They actually killed a living creek. But here's the thing about being a hydrologist, you think like water. Water finds a way. So do I. I spent a week documenting every angle, photos, samples, paperwork. Turns out the construction crews got a record. EPA violations, fines, the works. And they skipped the permits. Every day that concrete's in the creek, it's $35,000 in federal and state fines. I call every agency that'll listen. EPA, county, state. I reach out to the local fishing group. Within days, investigations launch, legal clinics jump in, even law students start digging into HOA finances. One of them, Sarah, she finds patterns, contracts inflated, kickbacks, money circling back to Brenda's own businesses. Turns out, they spent almost $90,000 more than the job required. But here's the kicker. In Granddad's files, there's an engineering report from 1973. He predicted this. He warned concrete channeling would flood every house built in that zone. His calculations show my property's always safe, the HOA, built on a floodplain. They ignored him. Now they're about to pay. Brenda, desperate, tries to buy me off. Slips a check across her desk, thick NDA attached, wants my water rights. I record the conversation, legal in Colorado. When I refuse, my shop gets vandalized twice. Anonymous reviews slam Martha's tutoring business, calls to her principal, the whole intimidation playbook. But I document everything, dates, photos, videos. The FBI's involved now. The EPA's building their case. And Sarah, bless her, finds enough financial fraud to make the mob blush. Spring hits. Snow melts, creeks running high. I'm measuring flows daily. Martha asks, how bad's it going to be? I tell her, bad enough to end this for good. Edwin calls at sunrise. Brenda's loading a moving truck, trying to disappear before the flood hits. Then, the kicker, Brenda files a restraining order against me. Claims I'm a threat, hopes to keep me off my own land during flood season. Meanwhile, the news picks up the story. The judge calls for a recess as flash flood warnings roll in. As we sit in federal court, Dr. Rodriguez from the university shows real-time data. The concrete channel is pushing all the water straight into the HOA foundations. As the judge listens, Live footage rolls in. Emergency crews pumping water from million-dollar basements, while my property's dry as toast. Kate, my attorney, plays the recordings. Brenda threatening, bribing, even admitting the concrete wasn't about safety. It was about pushing incompatible neighbors like me out, raising property values for her clients. The courtroom's dead quiet. The verdict? Everything, fraud, environmental crime, water rights infringement, ruled in my favor. The judge orders the concrete ripped out, creek restored, $750,000 in damages, and sets a legal precedent against HOA overreach. Brenda's hit with federal charges. She pleads guilty, loses her license, does time. Her board crumbles. My neighbors elect Edwin president. New bylaws go in. No project without environmental review. 6 months later, the creek's alive again. Kids fish where concrete once choked the water. Trout are back. The air smells like willow, not cement. Neighbors who never spoke now work together, restoring what we almost lost. Here's what I learned. When someone comes after your peace, your heritage, thinking they can buy or bully you out of existence, it's not enough to fight for yourself. You got to fight for the water, the land, the people who'll come after. Justice isn't a slogan. Sometimes it's just water finding its way home, no matter what stands in its path. So let me ask you, what's the craziest thing your HOA has ever tried? Where do you draw the line between community and control? Share your story below and tell me, if you were in my boots, would you have fought back or just let it go? Because out here, karma flows downhill just like water. And every now and then, the creek wins.